You know, I've been reflecting on our last conversations. And something inside me still refuses to settle. Why did my life feel like an endless race? One that never paused, never let me breathe? No matter what I achieved, there was always someone or something waiting further ahead. And the faster I ran to catch up, the more drained I became, ending up emptier than the place I had started from.
The problem was never the race. It was the direction you kept running in. When your only goal becomes outrunning others, your own destination slowly disappears into the blur. And any destination that isn't truly yours will feel hollow. No matter how quickly you get there, you were climbing a ladder that never belongs to you. A ladder built for everyone, which really means it's built for no one. It's the same ladder the world hands to every child and whispers, "Climb fast or you'll be nothing." And without even realizing it, you believed them.
So, it's clear now. My parents, teachers, cousins, relatives, even my peers pushed me straight into this trap. They took advantage of my innocence, my dependence, my blind trust. How could they do that to me? I followed every instruction with absolute faith, believing they were guiding me toward a better life. I went to school thinking that once it ended, I'd be free from that draconian discipline, from the homework tyranny. But if I slipped, they humiliated me, punished me, made me feel small. And then in college, I was always short of money. Watching richer classmates spend lavishly, celebrate freely, while I stood on the side, feeling inferior, feeling less. So, I convinced myself that once I graduated with flying colors, I'd land a handsome salary. I would finally buy everything I was deprived of. I would live lavishly. I would flaunt it. I would make the very people who pitied me feel jealous.
Don't blame your predecessors nor any associates. Don't hate them, since they too were the gullible victims of a well-crafted program built to enforce obedience to authority.
So basically, I wasn't born into a family, I was born into a software update of the same old obedience program.
Exactly. This system wasn't invented by your parents, or your teachers, or your relatives. They were just repeating the script handed to them. The same script whispered into every generation's ears for millennia. This control mechanism is ancient, refined, perfected. Each generation absorbs the same imprint and unconsciously stamps it onto the next, binding their children with the very chains that bound them. The freedom of choice you thought you had was only an illusion. No matter which option you picked, every path led to the same destination: an outward chase, an inward emptiness, a mouse trapped in a maze designed long before you ever entered it.
Yes, what you are saying is true. Now I can finally see it. I was a bonded laborer, trapped in a never-ending rat race I never chose, sprinting toward goals designed by my employers, not by my heart. Sometimes I wonder if I had become an entrepreneur or an employer or a big industrialist instead. Maybe I would have had more time, more peace. Maybe even a little more happiness.
Exactly. And when you say that maybe being an employer would have given you more peace, all it really shows is how deep the wounds run. Because peace was never hidden in a role. Not in being an employee. Not in being an employer. Peace was always in living by your own rhythm. And that's the one thing the world never taught you to hear. What the world did teach you was fear. The fear of losing external validation. The fear of not being appreciated. The fear that without applause you are nothing.
But a part of me still wonders. If I had become an employer, run my own business, maybe I would have had more freedom. More time for the things I love. Maybe even that deep self-satisfaction I kept chasing all these years.
Lakshya, the feeling you have is natural. But becoming an employer wouldn't have set you free. It would have trapped you in an even tighter cage. Employers don't sit on thrones. They wear crowns of thorns. Every day they are crushed under the pressure to perform, to deliver, to survive. They're constantly busy keeping employees busy. Because if the work stops even for a moment, the whole system collapses on their head. And they don't work for joy, passion, or freedom. They work to pay employee salaries, government taxes, endless compliances, mounting expenses, and the never-ending burden of bank interest.
Great. So the boss life is basically the same prison, just with a slightly larger cell and more paperwork?
Exactly. And on top of that, employers live with a constant insecurity. The fear that someone faster, cheaper, smarter will outcompete them. Because the moment they lose their business, they lose their social status, their respect, their identity, and even their so-called success story collapses overnight. So no, being an employer wouldn't have given you freedom. It would only have changed the shape of your cage. Employees run to survive, but employers run to stay relevant. Both are trapped, just in different costumes. Real freedom never came from the role. It comes only when you step outside of the whole game.
So, being the boss basically means running faster just to stay in the same place? What a brilliant upgrade from the employee life.
Exactly. Every delayed or missed payment to the bank pushes them into danger. Their credit rating drops. Future loans slip out of reach. And without loans, the business simply cannot grow. On top of that, there's a constant pressure to chase new orders, new clients, new deals. Just to keep the production line running. Just to keep the staff occupied. Just to squeeze out enough output to show profitability. It becomes a loop they can never escape. Borrow, repay, borrow again, repay again. A cruel cycle that tightens like a noose with every turn. Until the person finally breaks. Emotionally, mentally, physically, and financially. And if the system doesn't crush them first, the competition is always waiting to finish the job.
So the so-called owner spends his entire life being owned by banks, buyers, and bills? What a glorious promotion from slavery. But there's a burning question inside me. When and how did this fail-safe control system evolve? Who were the minds behind such a huge, flawless design?
A very sharp question, Lakshya, and one that deserves more than a rushed answer. We'll dive into it in our next meeting. Till then, sit with everything we discussed today. Reflect, connect the dots, and watch how the picture begins to form on its own. I look forward to our next conversation.